While most of us shiver through the winter months, a Kingston area diver is busy studying and filming marine life in warmer climates. Kenn Feigelman is just back from an expedition in Florida where he studied the mammal known as the sea cow. Well, he's back on land and in our studio before he heads off to another underwater adventure. Good to see you aboard again, Ken.
Good being here again.
Tell us about the reason behind your recent expedition to Florida.
It was quite sudden. I was actually supposed to be in Cuba this time of the year. Had to change my plans in a hurry. I was approached by a group called Save the Manatees out of Maitland, Florida, just before Christmas. They had learned about us through our website, I guess, and Save the Manatees was founded in 1981 by the famous singer Jimmy Buffett and by Bob Graham, the then governor of Florida, so 26 years ago. Anyway, I was approached by Save the Manatees to come down and meet with them to discuss the possibility of working on a documentary highlighting their work, which is to save the endangered manatees and the plight of the manatees. I decided on the spur of the moment to go down to Florida, left from Syracuse on the 24th of January, spent a week basically down there working with the manatees and meeting with this group, and primarily in the Crystal River area where I did some initial filming.
Okay, so for those of us who haven't seen the manatee up close, tell us about these creatures.
Right, their nickname is the sea cow, which you alluded to earlier. They are mammals, marine mammal. They're herbivores. They feed just on grasses and that kind of matter. They don't feed on animal matter, at least not on purpose. They can live to about 70 years of age. They're harmless animals, totally harmless, very friendly, gregarious. They're quite nosy, actually, and curious. They'll come right up to a boat and put their head out of the water and look at you. They're with beautiful eyes, very curious. They can grow to maximum 13 feet long, weighing close to a ton. The average animal's about 10 feet long and weighs about 1,200 pounds.
Okay, you said they're an endangered species. How many of them are left, and why are they on the endangered list?
It's an excellent question. That was one of the first questions I asked the Save the Manatee people. And they're actually called the West Indian manatee, in fact, but the bulk of them reside in and around the state of Florida. They guesstimate about 3,300 animals left right now, out of many thousands more that would have been there at one time. There are various causes of their demise, one of which a lot of people know about are boats. These animals like to cruise along the surface, especially in estuaries and freshwater rivers, and they get hit by fast motorboats and get sliced and diced by the propellers, either very seriously injured or mortally wounded and die. They also are dying from red tide, which is a natural phenomenon, but red tide is a type of algae which proliferates with lots of nutrients, and because there are more and more nutrients from more and more human habitation in Florida, the manatees unfortunately are being inadvertently, of course, killed by red tide. And last year, 2006, which is why they contacted me, was one of the worst years in recorded history for manatee fatalities in Florida.
Right.
Known fatalities, yeah.
You know, you've been diving for decades, Ken. Do you ever get worried about getting too close to marine life? No matter how gentle they seem, these manatees, for example, there must always be a risk element for you.
Not in this case, definitely not. These are such gentle, curious creatures. They'll come up and they'll actually try to rub you or touch you just to see how you feel. And it's quite neat, actually, to see these whiskered faces looking at you, and quite often with their babies. When we were filming whale sharks, as you well know when I last met with you, we just returned from Mexico. Now, whale sharks, again, are harmless creatures living in the sea, but they weigh many tons. They can grow to 45 feet long, and if you're in the way of their tails, the big tail, when it whips it to take off, that could do a job on you. But no, in most cases, we're very careful and respectful of the creatures that we work with.
But when you hear about freak accidents like the one that claimed the life of Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, I mean, does it ever go through your mind about maybe wanting to give up this profession?
Never. That would be the last reason. I think I would give it up because I'm just, as they call me, my friends call me the old man of the sea. When the aches and pains are very slow in going away and you just can't do it anymore, that's when you give it up. As I said, we're respectful of the animals. I've seen stingrays. I film them. I don't hold them in my arms. I don't try to kiss them or hold them up close to me. Sometimes fluke accidents will happen, but that's the nature of the business, and that's how it goes. So.
Well, let's talk about your next expedition. Where are you going, and what's up next for you?
Well, we're taping this on a Wednesday, and I will be leaving Montreal this Friday morning, for Bocas del Toro on the Caribbean coast of Panama. Long, convoluted trip. There's no direct flights from Kingston, from Canada. And I'll be there about 10 days in Bocas del Toro on the Caribbean coast, meeting with a group down there who I'll be diving with. And this is, again, for another proposed TV documentary, primarily filming endangered reef sharks, such as bull sharks, nurse sharks, and blacktip sharks, and also filming different coral reef structures unique to the area, and also walls, these beautiful deep underwater walls that go into the abyss. So we're going to shoot some preliminary footage, and then I'll be going into some rainforest areas above water and doing some shooting in the rainforest areas here.
Well, you know, a lot of people pay for these kinds of vacations, but you get paid to do them, right? I'm sure it's not a vacation, but I mean, to be down there in the tropics and swimming around, and you obviously enjoy it, and you can make a living from it.
Oh yes, we get paid. We have corporate sponsors. Thank God, just recently before Christmas, we picked up a sponsor out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, called the Luggage Club. We used to drag all our heavy luggage through the airports with all our housings and diving gear and all that. My equipment's gone. It left Kingston yesterday via FedEx for Panama, so we don't even see our luggage until it gets to our destination, and conversely, it's shipped home for us. So that's a big break for us as far as heavy equipment and all that. Is it a vacation? It's fun. It's hard work. It's got its obviously inherent dangers, which you alluded to, but that's par for the course for any job. And but whether it's a vacation, a lot of folks say it's a vacation. That's debatable. Maybe if I could put my feet up and lie on the beach, that'd be another story. So.
Right. Well, it seems like a vacation, and
right.
Some fantastic images that you and your crew take as well.
We're looking forward in Panama to really getting some great stills and some unique videos, because we're shooting, of course, high definition underwater now. So.
Right. Yeah. And in about a month, I understand you're going to be joining some elite company in the Adventurers Club?
The Explorers Club.
The Explorers Club. Tell us about that.
Well, I was ordained a member the 26th of August last year while I was in Mexico. I didn't realize I had been officially made a member. Was told that when I came back from Mexico, and then my wife and I fly down again out of Syracuse to New York City in March, mid-March, for this annual function they have at the Waldorf Astoria. So I'll be dressed like a giant penguin in a tuxedo, which for me is something else. And we convene at the Explorers Club, beautiful facility in New York City, actually, on the Friday evening, the 16th, where I'm formally inducted, and I stand by a stuffed polar bear and shake hands and get a document and all that. And then the next night, the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, we attend this very prestigious banquet at the Waldorf Astoria. There'll be people there such as Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Sir Edmund Hillary, and all famous people I've always admired and all that from around the world. James Cameron from Titanic fame, and now Kenn Feigelman from Kingston. So
you must be proud, though, to join that exclusive group.
Very proud, very honored, and it's kind of humbling. But it's great for the ego, and yet my wife is very good at keeping the ego on a nice plateau to make sure it doesn't go too high. So,
right. Member of the Explorers Club, but you still have to take the garbage out every week.
Right, and as I said, I even have to wear a tuxedo at the banquet on the Saturday night. So.
I have to ask you, too, about, you always bring props when you come in here, and here's one. It's more than a prop, actually. Explain the reason for this. This is like a road sign?
Well, it's a water sign.
It's a water sign, okay.
Right. This would appear, the Caution Manatee area sign was given to me as a gift by the Save the Manatee Club that I mentioned earlier. This is an actual, this isn't a pretend, this is an actual aluminum weatherproof sign, whatever they call it.
Right.
That would be affixed to a post in certain areas of sanctuaries where the manatees are, so that they don't get struck by the motorboats.
So this is a warning then for boaters to know that the manatees may be in the area.
And I should stress, while in Florida, as brief a trip as it was, I made some excellent contacts courtesy of the Save the Manatee Club. And I'll be working with a resort down there, a dive resort on Crystal River, who will be allowing us to use their facilities to stay and film and all that. And I was very, very well received by the local manager of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, who's just chomping at the bit for me to come back and do some filming.
Well, all the best on your next adventure. I can't wait to see the pictures when you get back.